morning, professionals. In our Global Corporate Law webinar, we have been discussing about the provisions under Singapore Companies Act. Last session, we discussed about meetings and proceedings under Companies Act, and we are going to continue the same today as well. Thanks to Aishwarya for this detailed presentation. These are various legends used in today's presentation. More specifically, SGX-NET is the concept for Singapore Exchange Net. And the agenda for today's presentation will be, first we will discuss about the notices, the various notices. One, the company issuing notices to members, and two, the members also having the privileged right to issue notices to the company, and what are the matters specified there at where this privileged right is available to the members. And then we are going to see the various types of resolution. Ordinary resolution, special resolution, and resolutions where the consent could be obtained in writing from the members. And then we are also going to see the resolutions where the approval is accorded by requisitionist seeking for the specific meeting being convened. And then we are going to see about the minutes where the proceedings are recorded, which provides the fair and correct summary of the discussions in the meetings, be it your board, committee meetings and general meetings. And these proceedings are the conclusive evidence of all the decisions recorded, and hence the minutes assumes lot of significance because it can certainly be taken as admissible as evidence for all the discussions which happen and the deliberations that take place during the course of meeting. And finally, we are going to see the special arrangements that are made during the general meetings because of the COVID season. First, let's understand the notices for general meeting which are issued. General notice is the one issued by company to members, and members issuing to the company is called the special notice. And for ordinary resolutions, the time gap shall be before 14 days of general meeting or such higher number of days as provided in the company's constitution. And in the case of special resolution, for private companies, it is 14 days advance notice. For public companies, since the public funds are being deployed there the gap is wider, which is 21 days before the general meeting, the notice shall be issued to all the members concerned. Whether a shorter notice provision is available under the Act? Yes, provided majority members plus 95% of total voting rights agree to this particular lesser period of notice. At the request of members, company shall circulate to the members entitled to receive the notice a copy of the resolution together with a statement. There is a word restriction there too, not exceeding 1000 words, describing the material facts and the proposed business for which the members' approval is being requested for. And the notification that the formal arrangement is sought in case of resolution by return means along with the notice at the expense of requisitionist, which means it is being sought by the request of these particular members and hence at their cost. These particular expenses shall be borne by them. Then comes your special notice where it is from the members to the company. The events which require special notice are removal of a director of a public company or appointment of a director in the place of removed director at the meeting in which he is removed. Removal of auditors before the expiry of their term. The time period for this notice is members shall give notice at least 28 days before the general meeting in which this resolution is being passed. And company shall send such notice to members not less than 14 days before the general meeting. A notice shall not be construed as invalid. This is very important. If the general meeting is called for a date lesser than this particular statutory timeline, which is here 28 days, or less after notice has been duly given, it is the company is complying with all the provisions with regard to issuance of notice, but only there is a shortfall, and such notice shall deem to be properly given, although it is not given to the company within the time required thereat. We'll move on to part 2 of today's discussion, being resolution. Resolutions, you have various categories. Ordinary, special resolution. Resolution by return means Resolution of one member company. If it is a one-person company, there are specific privileges and exemptions available. What are they? And resolutions, the case of adjourned or postponed meetings. Suppose a meeting is not convened on the original date, but it is being adjourned or deferred to a subsequent date. What happens to the validity of these resolutions? We will see. First, let's try to understand what is ordinary resolution. We all are quite aware of the fact that ordinary resolution is that resolution which requires assent of simple majority, which is 50% of members entitled to vote thereat. Special resolution is where assent is required of not less than 3/4 of members who are entitled to vote. That's why specific businesses where special resolution approval is required, it becomes quite a challenge in those JV entities where it is 50-50 or it is 49-51, in which case that 3/4 approval or specific approval, special resolution of certain matters, it becomes a challenging issue. If it is not having the assent of all these collaborated members or JV entities, or if it is not being accepted by these majority shareholders. No member of the company demands for a poll as specified under 184 subsection 4 of the Act. A declaration of the chairman that the resolution is carried will be a conclusive evidence, irrespective of votes cast in favor or against the resolution. Next comes your third category, resolution by written means. It applies to private and unlisted companies and thus not applicable for listed entities and not for resolution for which special notice is required. Already we discussed of those matters where special notice is required. For those matters, you cannot go by resolution by written means. That is, you pass the resolution by circulation and take the consent of the concerned members by writing. And a resolution which is passed for dispensing the holding of annual general meeting. Except for these cases, in all other cases it is applicable. Approval for ordinary resolution, again it is members representing majority of the total voting rights. And in the case of special resolution, as the definition goes, it is members representing more than 75% of total voting rights. Agreement sought by directors of the company. Directors who wish to seek agreement for a resolution shall send a copy of this particular material fact together with the background note to each member who is entitled to vote, and same shall be agreed the members within a period of 28 days. Members' right. Where aforesaid agreement is sought and resolution is circulated, members representing more than 5% of voting rights can demand for holding a general meeting, stating that we are not interested in signing the resolution by writing and we are interested only to discuss in length about this particular matter in a meeting, physical meeting convened, held and conducted, and only then provide approval, provided this particular meeting could be convened if they are holding voting rights of more than 5%. And requirements for this particular resolution by writing is agreements sought by directors or any requisition made by these members, and the charter document shall provide authority for passing these resolutions in writing. And this resolution in each member's agreement shall certainly be recorded in a book, recording the proceedings thereat, and it shall be signed by the directors or secretary of the company for evidencing the proceedings thereat. Fourth type of resolution is your resolution of one member company. This has to be recorded and signed by the members for passing such resolution. And adjourn meetings, if the resolution is approved, what is the validity? The resolutions passed shall have effect on the day in which they are actually passed and not on any earlier date. Suppose the original meeting was convened in the month of September, but due to COVID or some other material reason, the company has adjourned the meeting and sufficient compliance has occurred for this particular adjournment, and the resolution passed only in the adjourned meeting, that is in today's date, 23rd October, 24th October, shall have effect and not otherwise the 30th September resolution. And copies of resolution has to be lodged with the registrar as specified in the Act. So all these approved decisions have to be filed with the registrar as per the requirements stipulated in the Act. We're going to move to the third part of today's discussions, which is the minutes, Very important provision, because the proceedings shall be entered in a book within 30 days from the date of event. That is, be it your board or committee or general meeting, within the 30 days time period, this shall be recorded. And minutes relates to proceedings of the meeting signed by chairman of either that meeting, the preceding meeting, or the succeeding meeting. And minutes relating to resolutions by the director of the company. So the minutes, certified copy of the resolutions, that could be signed by the director of the company. But the entire minutes relating to the meeting proceeding shall be signed by the chairman of the same meeting or next meeting. And minutes acts as the conclusive evidence, and hence it reflects the validity of the meeting and confirms that the meeting was actually convened, held and conducted. And if there is going to be any default in compliance with this provision, company and every officer in default shall be imposed a fine of up to 2,000 Singapore dollars and also a default penalty. Minutes shall be kept at the registered office or place of business in Singapore, and all the members are entitled to inspect the minutes without any charge. If they are going to demand for a copy, then within 14 days of making such demand, at the request, the same shall be certainly provided to them at a charge of 1 Singapore dollar per page. And failure to comply with this provision, company and every officer in default shall be punishable with a fine of up to 400 Singapore dollars and also with a default penalty. Finally, we are going to conclude with the alternate arrangement for general meetings during this COVID time. On 13th April, COVID temporary measures, alternate arrangement for meetings of companies, BCCs, trusts, unit trusts and debenture holders order was issued, carrying retrospective effect from 27th March. Additional guidance was issued by ACRA, MAS and SER, that is your Accounting and Corporate Regulatory Authority, your Monetary Authority of Singapore and the Singapore Exchange Regulation for entities which were unable to comply with the aforesaid order and provided additional guidance to defer the meetings, providing additional exemptions and privileges during this unprecedented situation. Meetings for private companies could be by way of electronic means with both audio and video facility and audio facility. That is, audio and video facility VAC means. But for notice, it could be by way of electronic means, and in addition to the routine details which are provided generally, particulars of electronic means, since the meeting is being conducted by way of e-mode, the additional particulars shall be provided with regard to the electronic means of this conducting meeting, access to these meetings, the virtual platform and the loading of proxy forms electronically. All these additional facilities shall be provided. And quorum shall be 2 members, and if constitution provides for 1, then even 1 member personally or electronically present shall suffice the statutory requirement. And your listed companies, the meeting could be by way of electronic means with audio and video facility, notice by way of electronic means, and in addition to general details similar to a private company, particulars of electronic means, access to such meetings and proxy forms being loaded electronically shall be provided in your notice. And this shall also be published on SGXNet, being a listed entity, for having public dissemination of information. Quorum, again, like your private company, it is 2 members personally or electronically present, but there it was, if the constitution provides, it could be 1, but here it is 2 members. Other documents is additional requirement for listed entities. Documents which are produced at the meeting and minutes of the meeting shall be hosted in your SGXNet, and queries shall be addressed before the meeting through SGXNet. This is an additional requirement, but again they say maybe, but for the benefit of protecting the interest of investors, it is suggested that all the listed entities could also upload their response to the queries raised by the members in the portal before the meeting commences and issuer's website, where all these details are posted by the company. With regard to proxies, the schedule of this particular order also provides for the proxy form delivery and who will be construed as proxy during this particular COVID season. Proxies delivered before 13th April. If person other than the chairman is appointed as the member's proxy, say X is the member and he is authorizing Y and Z is the chairman for the purpose of this slide for understanding. Chairman Z shall be deemed to be the proxy in the following scenarios. If vote of each resolution is indicated by X in the proxy form, because Chairman Z is going to act only on behalf of X because he is the deciding authority and he has already marked those resolutions where the vote is in favor and those resolutions where the vote is against. And if an opportunity to withdraw the proxy appointment is given to the member, the same is not withdrawn by the member. He is already given a prerogative right, but he has not withdrawn his right. In case of adjourned meetings, there is no change in the resolution and the resolution stand as is. And proxy appointment in the case of second scenario is after 13th April but before 30th September, then only Z, that is a chairman, can be appointed as proxy. And in the case of proxy appointment in scenario 3, where proxy is appointed on or after 1st October, it could be either the chairman or any other person, which is your general scenario. However, in all the three scenarios, all the requisite forms shall be lodged with the company as specified by the company as regulated by the statutory provisions of the Act. Friends, with this we are concluding the meetings and proceedings under Companies Act Part 2. Thank you very much for your time. Take care. Stay safe.